Hello, hello. Okay, I think we're about to go live. I don't know why. I'm gonna tweet that out real quick. I'm a pothead. I'm a sinner. No, no. All right, we're ready to go. First off, I just want to go ahead and start this off. I did not have this plan to do an episode today, but plans kind of got moved around and changed, got pushed back. So I decided today we're gonna have an impromptu IndyCarper episode. Welcome. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome to IndyCarper. I'm your host, Hunter, also known as Casey Racem. Welcome to IndyCarper. I hope you're enjoying. You hope you enjoy what you're watching. This is going to be kind of an impromptu episode. I did a post race week recap, but I kind of sped through that. I had plans Sunday after the IndyCar race, so I kind of sped through that. I kind of want to go through, just revise about what happened at St. Petersburg this weekend, and just go over that more in depth. Do that, and I got some stories I want to talk about. Mainly, I want to talk about Michael Andretti calling out Penske, as well as Chip Ganassi and Cadillac splitting up in IMSA slash World Endurance Championship. I want to go through that. This is going to be more of an in-depth impromptu episode, and then I'll let you know back on Twitter slash X when the pre-race hype show for the $1 million Thermal Club race is going to be, and the plan for that next week. I'll let y'all know at the end of the episode. But once again, welcome to IndyCarper. My name is Hunter, also known as Casey Racem. I'm not affiliated with IndyCar whatsoever. This is just me talking about what I like about IndyCar and things that happened this week in IndyCar. But without further ado, I know that was kind of a long intro. Let's go ahead and get this show started. First off, it's time for me to congratulate. We need to congratulate the winners of the Indy Next, which, if you watch NASCAR, this is the NASCAR Xfinity Series. This is basically the Xfinity Series equivalent to IndyCar without IndyCar drivers driving on open weekends. But first off, let's go ahead and congratulate our winners. Both of them led from start to finish this weekend. Indy Next winner Nolan Siegel, he led pretty much the entire race in Indy Next this weekend. So congrats to him. And you'll also be seeing Nolan Siegel, since Indy Next has a long, maybe month and a half break between races. You'll see Nolan Siegel here 2 weeks time, March 24th at the Thermal Club. He will be making his IndyCar debut. Hopefully, he has a great run with Dale Coyne. I think he can. I think it's possible. I think he did great this weekend. I think he's a contender for the Indy Next title. We talked about Indy Next, the winner for that. Congrats, Nolan. But the NTT IndyCar Series, the winner at Pete, Joseph Newgarden, led lap to lap, start to finish almost. I think he led all but like maybe 10 to 12 laps. I'm not sure because of pit strategy. But we got to congratulate him. The funny story about him this off season, he unfollowed everyone on social media, unfollowed everyone on Twitter, Instagram, things like that. But I'm gonna brag. I'm proud to say I was not one of the people he unfollowed. He never followed me either, but that is not the point. He unfollowed everyone on social media. Yeah, like he unfollowed everyone on social media. Wanted to focus in his head. No one knows what his feed, his For You page, things like that look like because he unfollowed everyone to talk about it. No one knows what that looks like. He got laser focused in the offseason and it paid off. He got a pole and he won the dang race. So congrats to Joseph Newgard. Had laser focus this offseason, unfollowed everyone on social media. So yeah, we gotta give a big congrats to him. Now I want to do more of a deep look into the results. Let's look at the final race results for this weekend, Indy Next. You might be asking, why do I have one driver's name bold and everyone else normal? I'll get back to that later. Let's look at the final results. Nolan Siegel, congrats to him, led start and finish. Jacob Abel finished second, and Louis Foster rounds out the podium. Michael D'Orlando in bold, that's not he finished fourth. Reese Gold fifth. Jonathan Brown came home sixth place. Cal Collette, he finished second. He finished seventh this weekend in Indy next to St. Pete. And then eighth, you got Miles Rowe, great run for him. And then ninth, you got Salvador de Alba for Andrew Eddie Cape. So big run for him. Congrats to him. Rounding out the top 10, you had Christian Bogle. I've seen him race a couple times. I don't know how long he's in Indy next, but I can't remember if it was next or Indy Pro 2000. I did see him run at Gateway a couple years back. And in 11th place, you got the 17 of Callum Hedge. And then the 12th place, you got I don't know how to pronounce the name. I'm going to do it as best I can. I'm going to say Even Sundra Murthy. Congrats to him on the 12th place run. Josh Pearson in the 13th place. And then 14th, 15th, you got Nolan Allaire in the 11th car finishing 14th. And you got Miss Lindsay Brewer, her first run with Hunkos Hollinger in IndyNext. She got a top 15 finish. Good job to her. And then 16th, you got James Rowe. 17th was Josh Mason. 18th was the number 40 of Jack William Miller. He not a great run. I think he hit the wall. Bryce Aaron had ended up crashing out of the race in the 27, so not a great run for him. Jamie Chadwick and Niles Coolin, I believe, got to a wreck on like two or three. Both of them ended up wrecking out of the race, and they ended up finishing, but they didn't have a great run. But otherwise, let's go ahead and give a congrats to Nolan Siegel. We'll go back into the fourth place finisher, Michael D'Orlando, later on. We'll go back to them later on after we go to the IndyCar race results. Let's and for the IndyCar race results, we do have Alex Rossi in eighth, bolded. I'll dive into that. I did do a post on Twitter/X, and I did talk about it. I did tweet at him, and I did talk about it in the post race recap. But I want to go more in depth for the post race recap. Here are your final results for the IndyCar race. Strong run by Team Penske. Joseph Newgarden finishing first. Scott McLaughlin finishing third, and Will Power finishing 12th. That might have been the key this year. Team Penske was the only team that did not go through any driver change this year, and they ended up finishing three of the top four positions. No driver changes, nothing changed. Maybe consistency was the key. But yeah, like I said, Newgarden finished first. Pato Awards comes home second. I did pick Award and Herta to win the race, and they came home second, fifth, respectively. Great runs for them. Scott McLaughlin comes home third, Willpower fourth. Like I said, Team Penske had speed and were consistent in the offseason. Maybe not changing anything was the way to go. Colton Herta, like I said, finished fifth. Him and Pato Award were my two picks to win the race, and both had solid runs, but couldn't get the win done. So solid runs, not race winners, but still good runs for them. Alex Blow, 2023 defending IndyCar Series champion. He finishes sixth in the new DHL number 10. Felix Rosenquist comes home seventh. He had some speed all week, and he was fastest in first practice. He set the qualifying record with a lap of 59.27 seconds, but he qualified second. He set that fastest lap in the fast 12. In eighth, like I said, bolded Alexander Rossi. I'll dive more deep into it. Starts 15th, finishes 8th, so congrats to him on the top 10 run. The number 9 car, Scott Dixon, he finishes where his number in the series is. The 9 car finishes 9th. Scott Dixon, he is my championship pick, so maybe he needs, I know he needs some wins and needs more runs, but a top 10 is a good way to start the season. And rounding out the top 10 is the number 21 of Renus VK. Great top 10 run. Ed Carpenter Racing really didn't have that much speed last year, and I think Renus VK has shown that maybe they have something. Maybe he could be an underdog winner of the race this year. I don't know. We'll have to see. Coming home in 11th for AJ Foyt is the number 14 of Santino Ferrucci. He always has great speed in the Indy 500. I think this 11th place finish shows that maybe because AJ Foyt did get an alliance with Team Penske this year. Who knows? Santino Ferrucci could have some better runs. Coming home 12th was the number 27, Kyle Kirkwood. He is my underdog championship prediction, but who knows? Solid 12th race run. He did win at Long Beach, which is our next points paying race over in April after the Thermal Club Exhibition $1 million race. Who knows? Maybe he can go back to back. Coming in 13th in a substitute effort, mind you, Callum Ilott, the number 6. Remember, David Malukas was the original full-time driver of the 6. Callum Ilott's did St. Petersburg as a replacement. Did get a solid 13th place run. I think he has potential to come back. We'll see him in 2025. He did have a solid run in that number 6 car. They already confirmed David Malukas ain't going to be running the $1 million exhibition race at Thermal. So who knows? Looking at the WEC schedule, I don't think they have anything planned till April. So who knows? We might see Callum Ilott back at Thermal. And the highest finishing rookie comes home in 14th. That is the number 4 of Kiffin Simpson. Something very, very surprising. Something very, very surprising. The fastest rookie was Kiffin Simpson. So we gotta give him I'm gonna give him a round of applause. So congrats to Kiffin Simpson on that. Coming out 14th, the highest finishing rookie. Right now he leads rookie of the year standings. Will it continue? We don't know. I have to see after Thermal. A couple of RLL guys coming home 15th, 16th. Pietro Fittipaldi in his first race in the number 30. Solid top 15 effort to him. Graham Rahal coming home 16th. That's about, I'd say that's an average finish, but who knows. So Graham Rahal coming home 16th position. Tom Blomqvist, another rookie coming home 17th. He pretty much just stayed there the whole entire race. So congrats to him. He stayed in the 17th position around that area the whole race. Some consistent runs. I believe that's all Blomqvist really needs to look for in your run. Just some consistency and keeping the car clean. And he did exactly that. Augustin Campino coming home in 18th. And then 19th in the Dale Coyne, number 18. The driver we didn't know was going to be a driver until Tuesday morning before race week. Sorry, Jack Harvey. He's going to be in 14 races, all but 4 races in the 18. Coming home inside the top 20 is a good effort for Dale Coyne. And rounding out the top 20 will be Christian Lundgaard at number 45. Lowest finishing RLL car, but still they're around that top 15, top 20 area. Number 45 comes home in 20th. 21st is the other Ed Carpenter car, the number 20. That is the 2023 Indy Next champion of Christian Rasmussen. He did come home 21st in his IndyCar debut. He's going to be running all the road and street course races in that number 20 with Ed Carpenter, the team owner, running the ovals. Coming home in 22nd, you have another rookie, Colin Brown. We know, as far as we know, he's going to be in St. Pete and at Thermal Club. We don't know if he's going to be running more races after that. It's always possible, but we don't know after that. And 23rd, ended up hitting the wall. Not a great race for Linus Lundqvist in his Chip Ganassi debut, but that's some rookie marks. You have some rookie moments. That was a rookie moment. That corner that Linus Lundqvist ended up wrecking out. Took out another Chip Ganassi car earlier in the race. Roman Grosjean in his Hunko's Hollinger debut, he did have some fast speed during the weekend in practice and qualifying, but just wasn't meant to be. Ended up having mechanical issues, I believe, so not a great race for him. And in his Andretti debut, Marcus Ericsson, he also had some great speed practice and qualifying, but I believe he also had a mechanical failure. So not a great race to him. And then 26th, 27th, 26 will be the 41 and his Foyt debut for Singbury Rob. Believe he ended up something broke on the car, I believe, so not a great result. And then 27th, like I mentioned, for Linus Lundqvist, him and Marcus Ericsson, or not Marcus Ericsson, Marcus Armstrong, and Linus Lundqvist ended up having the same wall where they ended up having an issue and took him out of contention early in the race, or towards the middle of the race. And Linus's spot, really, that wall struck, and I believe Scott Dixon almost also hit the same wall that Linus and Marcus ended up breaking out at. So these are your final IndyCar race results. We'll dive more into it when we go to the next. I just dropped my microphone. We'll dive more into it when we go to the next race up. We'll talk more about the IndyCar, and next week we'll dive more into Thermal Club and talk about point standings and my picks for Thermal Club. But now, like I said earlier in the Indy Next results and the IndyCar results, I do have two drivers bulleted, one for each series. Those are my Casey Racing drivers of the day. And what the Casey Racing driver of the day is those are two drivers that I picked that I enjoyed watching, that I think we need to give some recognition to, give them an award, give them a big old congratulations on what they did. Maybe they started in the back of the pack, finishes top 10, or maybe a driver that we need to highlight because maybe they don't have much planned after this weekend. Like I said, they maybe don't have much planned after the weekend. I want to give an award to the fourth place finisher. This is my Casey Racing driver of the day. To the fourth place finisher of the Indy Next race at St. Pete. The Casey Racing driver of the day for St. Pete Indy Next. Now I should have done it during my post race recap, but like I said, I was kind of speeding through that. I wanted to talk. I'm doing this impromptu show to talk more about IndyCar. But anyways, the Indy Next driver of the Casey Racing's Indy Next driver of the day goes for the fourth place finisher as I bulleted in the final results. Michael D'Orlando. He is my Casey Racing driver of the day. He did move up one spot. He started fifth, finished fourth. But the main reason that I have Michael D'Orlando as my Casey Racing driver of the day, this is a guy who didn't know he was going to be racing St. Pete. He found out later by Andretti Cape that they wanted to put him in the Indy Next car. He found out late he was running St. Pete. Goes out, starts top 5, finishes 4th. And this is also a driver. He doesn't know if he's going to be back at Barber here in a month and a half for the next Indy Next race. He doesn't know if he's going to be back. He was only signed on for St. Pete. They said he needs to find some more funding for to continue the rest of the season. So I'm giving a highlight to Michael D'Orlando. He did great in his one race. He finished 4th. Almost had a podium. He was really battling Luis Foster towards the end. Couldn't quite get him. But just a reminder, if you know anyone that wants to fund an Indy Next driver or wants to get a shout out from me or is looking to fund a driver, go ahead and hit up Michael D'Orlando on X or find someone because I know he needs some funding to continue the rest of the season. This is a guy I would recommend. He finished 4th on his one race, and I think he has immense potential. So, Michael D'Orlando, you are the Casey Racing Indy Next driver of the day for Sunday at St. Petersburg. So, congrats to him. Ari tweeted out tagged Alexander Rossi. I mentioned that during the post race show that I was kind of speeding through last weekend. But Alexander Rossi, the case racing driver today, he started 15th, ended up coming back, finishing 8th, had a solid run. Didn't have a great qualifying run because I think he got stopped up by Ericsson. So he deserves the case racing driver of the day. So congrats to him. And just a reminder, next race up for the Indy Next Series, not until April 28th. So you got a good about month and a half break between races. Reminder, Indy next race up, the Grand Prix of Alabama. That's going to be Sunday, April 28th, 11:05 a.m. Eastern, 10:05 a.m. Central, 9:05 a.m. Mountain, 8:05 a.m. Pacific time. And Indy Next, all the races are streaming exclusively on Peacocks and IndyCar Live. I use Peacock to watch the races. You can watch the races too. Indy Next, Grand Prix Alabama. I want to get some eyes on the series. 11:05 a.m. Eastern, 10:05 a.m. Central, 9:05 a.m. Mountain, and 8:05 a.m. Pacific. All these races are streaming exclusively on Peacock, so make sure you have the Peacock app. It's only $5. And remember, once you're done watching your IndyCar race, you can watch them 2.5 men afterwards. That's what I do. And just a reminder for the Indy Next Series, I did make this graphic for the series. I love Canva. I like making graphics in my free time. If anyone wants to use it, just make sure you give me some credit. And tag me when you use the graphic. Like I said, I made this graphic on believe Thursday or Friday during race week. Just a reminder, next IndyCar race up, it will be the Thermal Club $1,000,000 Challenge. That's gonna be next Sunday, March 24th, 12:30 p.m. Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Central, 10:30 a.m. Mountain, and 9:30 a.m. Pacific. The Thermal Club is a private track in California. Reminder, the race Sunday, March 24th on NBC and streaming on Peacock. The Thermal Club $1,000,000 Challenge. This is not a points race. This is going to be more of an exhibition race. Fastest driver win. The driver that comes out first banks $1,000,000, much like the NASCAR All-Star race. I'll dive more into the picks next week when we do the INDYCARPER pre-race show. That's the plan. This was just an impromptu show I wanted to dive more into. And now we're moving on to the big story. Michael Andretti calling out Penske, questioning like what he's doing with the series. He pretty much said like if Roger Penske's not going to invest more in the IndyCar, he needs to sell. Which the funds like they want to have a charter. Is my thing. Penske wants to try to have a charter, try to be like NASCAR. That's something I'm against, considering you give them guaranteed entries to the Indy 500. You're going to have teams just. If you're giving guaranteed entries to the Indy 500, which has always been the Fast 33, you're just going to have teams just not do qualifying runs because, oh, we're guaranteed into the race. We don't need to qualify. Like, for instance, there's always teams that are running middle of the pack that don't know that they're going to have the seed. You're just going to have teams that are usually middle of the pack. Like, we don't need to qualify. We're going to run mid pack anyways. We're not a winning team. Why would we qualify? You're not going to qualify. But you don't need charters. Andretti's pretty much saying, like, but here's the thing between them two. One, something came out. Michael Andretti thought before Roger Penske bought it in late 2019 after Laguna Seca, Michael Andretti thought, hey, we might have the series. They thought they had the right backer to buy the IndyCar and Indianapolis IMS Speedway, but ended up falling through. Michael Andretti, I love the guy. I'm wearing the Andretti Autosport hat. I love the dude, but man, here's my thing here. One, Roger Penske kind of came into the series. He bought the series right after 2019, not knowing COVID would happen. He tried to make. I think he's made the best of what he could do with COVID. But look, COVID was 3 to 4 years ago. COVID's over with. I get you couldn't invest during COVID times. That's understandable. But Roger, like Michael Andretti said, if you do it right, if you are doing it right, you got a diamond in the rough. I think Michael Andretti may be right. Like if you're investing and marketing the series right, it's a diamond in the rough series. That's why a bunch of people say that IndyCar is one of the best motorsports, best kept secrets. There's a reason for that. It's straight up because they don't know. I don't think Penske really knows much about how to market it, and that's why I agree. That's why I kind of agree with Michael Andretti saying that they should sell the series because the way it's looking, I don't know if they can. That's the thing. And then afterwards, they started a committee where they're going to try to market the series, which that's a good step in the right direction. With owners trying to market the series, that's a great step going towards the right direction. But here's the thing: if you're not going to market the series or not going to invest more, other than just saying you have the series, like Andretti said, it's time to sell. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I have a degree in public relations, strategic communications, and marketing. This is just a Joe Schmo giving his pitch. I got great ideas to market the series. I know I've got great ideas, but this is just a Joe Schmo, not a professional. I know what the Joe Schmoes want. If I wanted to get a shot, someone bought the series and gave me on. I got great ideas to market on social media and things like that. That's the thing. It's like everyone thinks it's a hidden gem or a diamond in the rough. That's because they don't know how to market it. Pardon my language, IndyCar, but yeah, you got to be able to market the series if you want to make some money and get some eyeballs on the sport. It's at the point where I know some people that think that Indy 500 is a NASCAR race. It's not, and everyone should know that the IndyCar series is more than an Indy 500. But I'm gonna go away from that rant. I got a couple other things I wanted to talk about. This one's not IndyCar or not fully IndyCar related, but Chip Ganassi. He is a big he's a big name in motorsports, specifically with IndyCar. He used to be in NASCAR. But him and Cadillac, he's been running Cadillacs in the IMSA Sports Car Series as well as the World Endurance Championship. They're splitting up at season's end. And as the race article said, there's no reason was given for the impending split in GM and Cadillac. They like GM and Cadillac, like Jim Campbell said, is that they've had successful partnerships with Chip Ganassi racing across multiple series. He did run Chevys in NASCAR till Justin Marks made the offer, bought the team. He ran Chevrolets in IndyCar from 2014 till 2018 when he went back to Honda, and now he's a top Honda team. Extreme E, he did run. I don't know what he ran. I didn't really pay attention to the stream. Extreme E, I'm not going to talk about it. And then Imson Wack, he's ran Cadillacs for the past few years. They said they haven't announced if another team's taking charge, but like they said, multiple sources told Racer, Action Express, number 31 team in IMSA, maybe likely going to two cars. They did field the number 48 when Jimmy Johnson wanted to run his IMSA races in 2021/2022. We could see them going back to two cars, but I think a possibility. I don't know. I think that's the most likely possibility, and they're what it sounds like they said our sports car plans for 2025 will be announced at a later date. But like you got Lamborghini is joining I believe they're joining GTP at Sebring this year with their GTP car, and then the Heart of Racing is going to have an Aston Martin next year in GTP. I don't know what's going to happen. I feel like they might go to Acura, maybe Wayne Taylor, Andretti, and IMSA might downsize the car, and then the other car goes to Ganassi. But who knows? We'll see. They might have a new manufacturer coming up. We don't know. This was just announced yesterday that they're gonna part ways at the end of the IMSA WEC season with Cadillac. Maybe they want to have. Maybe Cadillac wants to find a new manufacturer like Action Express. We don't know. we'll see in the coming weeks or coming months what Chip Ganassi does with this. We'll have to see in the future. But that was just announced yesterday. I wanted to talk about a little bit about Chip Ganassi moving over from M. Suddenwick from Cadillac. And then last but not least, I got to call this out. This is me calling out an IndyCar fan I saw on Twitter. I blurred the name. Pretty sure a bunch of other people saw it. He got 30 quote tweets. Saw this. He tweeted this about IndyCar last week about the field. He said, and I quote, a crowd full of casuals and people that just go to party isn't something to celebrate. More real IndyCar fans need to be at the track. I'm so sick and tired of it. Everyone gloating about attendance when the most of the quote unquote fans at IndyCar races show up in F1 gear. It's disappointing. And then he said later on, to all the people that upset at my previous post, I am sorry if I offended you. All I was trying to do was voice my frustration with IndyCar crowds as of late. I go to NASCAR races to see the true passion from all the fans, and I just wish IndyCar had that same energy. I get it. You want that passion from IndyCar fans of the same energy that the passion of NASCAR fans have. But you don't need to go after the casuals and people that just go to the party and celebrate. And most of the quote unquote fans are showing up in F1 gear. You do realize some IndyCar fans have Marcus Ericsson's a former F1 driver, Romain Grosjean's a former F1 driver. A bunch of these guys are former F1, F2 drivers. But if you want to get more of these diehard IndyCar fans, I'll give you my story. I was probably a casual fan. Like I would watch all the IndyCar races because back in 2009 up until 2018, IndyCar was broadcasted on both ABC/ESPN as well as NBC Sports Versus or whatever it's called. Up until 2018, I would only watch the IndyCar races that was on ABC or ESPN. I only watched the 4 or 5 races, but in 2019, I got dove deep into NBC. I guess you can consider me an IndyCar fan, a casual fan, and I guess you would be disappointed in me if I just showed up to a race wearing like a NASCAR shirt or something because I was just now getting an IndyCar. But here's the thing: if you want to get more fans, you got to get some of them casual people. Maybe they don't have an IndyCar shirt. You can buy IndyCar shirts at the track. You can also order them. Maybe they didn't want to order them. Maybe they didn't know what driver they wanted to root for until they got to the track. You want to get some of these IndyCar fans that are showing up in F1 shirts. You're gonna get them. Maybe they go to the track, they enjoy the race, they find a favorite driver. You go to the stands, you go to the merch store, you get your favorite driver shirt. That's how you get some more of these quote unquote real fans that you're talking about. And they get that whole IndyCar energy. You go to a race, you go to one IndyCar race, maybe you're wearing an F1 shirt because you got maybe they're an Ericsson or a Grosjean fan, and now they're racing in this series. If you want to get fans, you got to get fans to show up to the race. I'm going to keep repeating myself. Some people go to races to party, but maybe they go to the race to party and then they become a fan of the team or driver and change out of their F1 shirt, become a diehard IndyCar fan. I know I did. I know more other people can do that. Sorry to go on this rant, but I just wanted to talk about that. That kind of ticked me off a little bit. And IndyCar can have that same time of energy like with the passion from NASCAR fans, but you got to figure out how to get that passion from fans. I'm sure they're going to show up to the first race in F1 shirts. Maybe they like the product and they go to this merch. They're like, oh, I like this. Let's say, for example, the guy shows up in an F1 shirt and is like, oh, this is open wheel. And then they're like, oh, holy crap, Pato Award's a really good driver. I'm going to buy his Pato Award shirt. You got McLaren from F1. Oh, I didn't know McLaren was here. Maybe I get a McLaren IndyCar shirt. Maybe I get a Rossi or Pato Award shirt. That's the way to get some passionate fans is some of them quote unquote casuals. IndyCar can have that same type of energy if you get some of these fans to show up. Maybe they start off casual like I did and they become diehard. I started off as a casual fan in 2009, and shortly after that, shortly after 2009, I became a diehard 10 years later. I was a casual up until NBC started broadcasting all the races, and I watched all the NBC races when they had the full season, like I am now. I'd say I started off as a casual. I became a diehard. Now I'm making this show by myself about IndyCar. I'm sorry I might have went drove in circles, but I needed to cover that. Once again, I'm signing off for now. This was more of an impromptu. I wanted to talk about it. Once again, signing off. Follow me on Twitter/X at HJCarp29. If you want to see updates on IndyCarper and what I have to say about different sports, go ahead and follow me on Twitter. It's all me. I do all this by myself. And that's Pat McAfee from the Pat McAfee Show says. Pat McAfee, big Indianapolis Colts guy, big podcast guy. But as he says at the end of the show, I'm going to repeat on my show. Be a friend, tell a friend something nice. It might change their life. And just a reminder, we're going to have an IndyCar pre-race show next week. I haven't decided what day. Probably going to be Wednesday or Thursday. I'll update that on Twitter. That's why you should follow me on Twitter/X at HJCarp29. Always be a friend, tell a friend something nice. It might change their life. Once again, I'm Casey Racem. Thanks for joining the IndyCarper Impromptu Show. That was kind of a longer show. Once again, I'm Casey Racem. Thanks for tuning in for another episode of IndyCarper. As